Hi guys, Mrs. Homan here with another science video. Today we are talking about ecology. Ecology is the study of how organisms interact with one another and with the environment. Organisms need matter and energy to live. The interactions between organisms cause an exchange of matter and energy. In this unit, we will be discussing how organisms on Earth interact by studying producers, consumers, decomposers, and how they create food chains and food webs, symbiotic relationships like mutualism, commensalism, and parasitism, and how limiting factors affect populations. However, I want to start by discussing where all the energy on Earth comes from. So, all the energy on Earth comes from the sun. If we recall back to our unit on energy, energy cannot be created or destroyed, it can only be transformed. Inside the sun, atoms are colliding and transforming that energy held in the nucleus of those atoms into light and heat energy. That energy moves outward from the sun and eventually reaches Earth, where plants, our producers, transform that light energy into chemical energy in the form of a sugar called glucose. Consumers eat those plants and convert that chemical energy into whatever energy they need to grow and survive, and that energy will be transformed on and on. So here I've written the chemical formula for photosynthesis, which isn't something that you need to know quite yet, but I wanted to show you how producers convert carbon dioxide, water, light into that glucose and oxygen. Okay, so these plants are getting that energy from the sun, that light energy from the sun, and converting it into that chemical energy, the glucose, that they use to grow. Now that we understand where the energy comes from, let's discuss the different parts of the environment. We have two major components, biotic and abiotic factors. First, biotic factors are living and once living parts of the environment. Things like plants, animals, fungi like mushrooms or mold, and bacteria. These are our producers, consumers, and decomposers. Before I move on, I want to pause and stress the once living component of this definition. Dead leaves, even though they are not living anymore, they were once living, so they are considered a biotic factor. Furthermore, biotic factors are the interactions between organisms in an area. So this is the foundation of food chains and food webs and how all the organisms in an ecosystem or biome interact. Next, abiotic factors are a non-living or never-living part of the environment, such as sunlight, water, the pH of the water, that's how acidic or basic it is, soil, the minerals in the soil, nutrients in that soil, air and the components, oxygen, carbon dioxide, nitrogen, wind, temperature, and pressure. Although some of these may sound abstract, they are unique to specific biomes. Abiotic factors, all of the things I have listed here, influence where organisms can live. For example, every species has a range where it can live. Polar bears need to live where it's cold. Cold-blooded reptiles like snakes need to live where it's warm. Desert plants like cacti don't survive well with lots of water. And coral need a pH between 7.7 and 8.4. To summarize, biotic factors are living or once living things and the interactions between organisms in an area. Abiotic factors are non-living or never living things that influence where organisms can live. Now that we have a basic understanding of what biotic and abiotic factors are, I'd like us to practice. So I'd like you to please pause the video and list as many biotic and abiotic factors as you can based on this picture, even ones you can't necessarily see. So please pause the video now before I go over the answers. Now I'm going to start with all the biotic factors or living things I see, starting with the producers or plants. There are grasses, these bushes, lily pads, ferns, these flowers, these look like snapdragons, and I don't know what those ones are. Next, the consumers or animals I see, we have these ducks, the frog, tadpoles, and frog eggs, these fish, these snails, the beetle, crawfish, this worm, and these dragonflies. Last, the only decomposers I see are these two little mushrooms. I don't necessarily see any bacteria, however, we know there probably are some in the water and soil. Next, the abiotic factors, or non-living or never living things. Sunlight, the water, the amount of water, the pH, or how acidic or basic the water is, the temperature of the water, the oxygen and carbon dioxide content of the water, because remember, the animals need to breathe and the plants need that CO2 in order to complete photosynthesis, even if they are underwater. The soil and its nutrient content, the air, the temperature of the air, the oxygen and carbon dioxide content of the air, the amount of shelter for all of the animals living in this area. That's all the biotic and abiotic factors I see in this picture. Let me know if you spotted something I missed, and thank you so much for watching.